Right, so today's specimen is a hazel tree. I say tree, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, there's at least 5 trees in this pot. So basically it's going to be grown as a clump style tree. So all I'm going to do is give it a bit of a trim. It might be a bit of a drastic trim today. We'll see how we go. Depends how bold I want to be. But again, first things first, take off any obvious dead branches that you can see. Get rid of those, get them out of the way so they don't interfere with the overall picture of the tree. Right, so let's have a look. So this tree hasn't had any styling at all. It's just been put in a pot and left to grow. Excuse me. So today is the first real look at the tree. So I think the first thing is really just to reduce the actual mass of foliage. There's far too much on here at the moment, so I'm going to go back to 1 or 2 buds on the branch. Just let me see what the actual structure of the tree is once I've done that. That can come off. So it's the very early stage of training this tree. That's too long, that need to know, so that can come off. Let's get rid of that one. It's going backwards. There's dead. Just take that off. And go back to there. That good piece and that good piece. So I haven't got any real idea in my head as to what shape I want this to be finally. All I'm doing is taking off all of the long extensions. Something like this, the internodal length is so long that it's not going to make for a very good tree. So first thing to do is cut back all of those, go to a junction where you can see a nice short nodal length. This top one is coming completely off. There's a bud there which I can utilise for the next growing stage. Right, so there's too many growth points on that at the moment. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points coming from the same branch. So first decision on that one would be which way is the tree going to be growing. So I could take it off to this side branch, take the whole of the top off and just let this become the new leader. That gives us a bit of taper as well. We've got a short internode between those branches there. This branch underneath is a lot thicker than the rest. So that would be a nice first branch on there. Might be too thick for the overall composition, so it can always come off at a later date. But the decision is at the moment, where do we make the top of the tree? So in relation to the tree next to it, if this is going to be the main tree, the reason I'm saying that is because it's the oldest of the 3 trees there, or the 4 trees there. We've got these 2. This is only probably 2 years old and it's completely straight. Same with this one, it's gone straight where the others have got nice curves. It could be that I take these 2 out completely and just leave the 2 because they've got some interest in the trunk. I need to think about that for a moment. So what we'll do, we'll leave it as it is. That one there looks like it's dead at the back. It's been shaded out by the rest of the tree, so we'll get rid of that. Oh, it's dead as well. Right, so I think we'll come off to there. This one can come off. That one can come off. Those two. At the end of that. Right, so that can come up and make a new leader. There's a nice bit of interest on that one. So a nice little curve there. That can go up. Let's just take off that one and that one. This is going to have to be wired out. Right, so let's have a look at that tree over there. That dead stump can come off. Right, so we'll cut back to there and there. That can be wired up to make a new apex. That's dead. That can come off. Those large leaves. Right, so that needs to be splayed out from the rest of the trunk. Let's get rid of that for a minute. Let's put that down there. Right, let's have a look. So we're going to take some of the leaves off of this because they're rather large. They are interfering with what I'm looking at. Right, so that comes out somewhere. Right. So that branch can come off. That takes that into that direction. This one can come off as well. Those dead pieces. That's where I pruned the branches last year. Don't like those little stubs. Right, so that needs to be splayed out. So I think I'll get a little piece of bamboo, about 3 inches long. Let's have a look, see how long we want that. So about there. Let's just get that off, saw that off there. strong. So I just want to split it right down the middle. Right, that should still be okay. That will still hold it. So that goes off of there. Right, so that. Let's just find a point where we can hold it in position. Right, okay, that's that right. So just going to make a little V in the end so it can go around the branch and hold itself. So with this end, that's it. Should be enough. Okay, well we'll leave that like that, and then next year I can put some wire around it and move it slightly round to the left if I have to. So that's not too bad for that one. So what I would like next year is for this to back bud and give me some new branches to play with. That's okay for now. It's got a nice piece of movement in it. I might take off the top and just leave that section there. In fact, yeah, let's do that. Reduce that down. Right, so there we go, that's that one for now. Let's turn our attention to the others. So this one needs to come out, so we'll put a piece of wire around him. So we'll anchor that into the soil. Let's give it a couple of twists. With the buds, just a little bit of a twist into him. That'll do for now. It's just going to hold it over the winter and set that in that position. Alright, let's take those out from there now. So what have we got on that one? Just give it a dead piece. So that's going to come back to there. That can come off. So a small one. Right, I'll put a little piece of wire on that one as well. I'm not sure it's going to stay there, but it might come off next year, but we'll wire it just to see what it looks like. There we go. And that piece. This one wants to come away from the other one. So, thin piece of anchor. There we go. That's good. A bit of an angle into him. That's okay, happy with that. seeing what it look if we splay them out a bit. Right, so that back branch, put that down to there. Come off. Right, so this branch that's interfering with this tree, there is a bud going backwards. So if I take that off, that'll overtake that branch. So get rid of that. And there's a bud facing my way as well. So we've got two options: one to come this way, one to go that way. We've got these two here as well. So that was a good decision to take that one off. I think I'm just going to pull those apart a little bit, hopefully. I can use a bit of bamboo. Right, so when you're just using a piece of bamboo to wedge a tree open, you always want to wedge it open further than you need, because when you take it out it will spring back a bit. So I could go down to there, that's holding it better. So even though that might look a little bit drastic now, when I take that away I'm expecting this to spring back to around about there. So about a third of what I've taken it away it should spring back by. If it springs back to its original place, then it might be a case I'm going to have to put some wire around it and try and wire it, or think of another option. But for now, I'm happy with that. Let's move that one out of the way of that a little bit. So that's okay. This big straight one, we need to induce some movement into this tree. Unfortunately, it's too thick to bend successfully, so it's going to be a question of cutting it down to a reasonable size. So we've got a couple of branches coming out on the left hand side, so I'm going to cut this top off completely. That leaves me those two side branches and this third one here, so that's going to give me the option of cutting down to this one, or this one. There are a couple of buds around the other side as well. That one's going into the middle, so that can come off. So I've got another bud here. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 options for the next part of that tree's growth. I'm thinking the lower I go, the better. Then I've only got a small amount of trunk to worry about being straight. But again, I can lean that out a bit, make it look like it's on the edge of a forest. So these two branches, I think I've split them around that tree. Take one way and one the other way. And hopefully we'll get some back budding on those. And then that'll give me more options for next year. So a piece of wire on both of those. Let's see what we can do. This one. Easier to bend the tree around the wire, and this one's slightly thicker, this particular tree branch, so I'll go for the thicker wire for the thicker branch, but we'll work around it, that's okay. So I can hold that nice and steady against the trunk there, get a nice tight bend for the first coil. That's got it. Right, so that's going going to be enough to hold that in the position I want it. Right, so let's have a look at this one. And it's unwound the tree rather than unwound the wire, because the branch is that much more flexible. Right, so I've got a nice tight turn on the first coil. That's it. So you can twist the wire as you go. When you're using slightly thicker wire than the tree actually needs, if you just twist the wire as you go, you can wind it around the branch a lot easier than if you try and wire it in the normal way. So I just tend to grab hold of it with my fingers and just twist as I go. One more should do it. There we go. That's that. So right, so now decision time as to where it's going to go. So that goes there. This one needs to come up. Away from that one. It's a tricky one. There we go. Something like that will do. I can always change it next year. It's not a big problem. This one I might even just cut out completely. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do. Just sacrifice that. So you end up with a three tree plant in there, and then end up with a triple trunk tree here. So next year I'll split them up and put them in their own pot, so we'll have a triple trunk and a clump of three. I think that one spoils the composition. I will swap it round to there first of all. Okay. I need to bite the bullet. That's got to go. Right, so we need my bigger cutters. Here we go. As I've said before, never overstress your tools. Always get the right tool for the right job, and that way the tools will look after you for many, many years. There we go, that's that down to ground level. Right, so now I've taken that off, that's going to allow me to put these branches in a better position. That's better. Right, okay, so that I think is going to be enough for today on this one. That little bit there is a problem, it's a bit thick. I'll leave it until next year, see what happens. I've got a bud. No, it's dead. Very good. Okay, so I'm hoping I'm going to get some back buds on this next year, and hopefully we'll improve it. So it's looking better than it was before. At least you can see some structure in the tree now. Thanks for watching.